Very good. So thank you guys for being here. You know, this work that I've been developing has been the culmination of 30 years worth of work, 30 years of worth of research. And most of the time, what we do when we think about focus, we have a major problem in this country. And I say this often enough that I'll continue to repeat it, is that would you agree with me that the human body today, in our world today, we are at a very, very critical point in human evolution? How many people agree with that? We're at a critical point in human evolution. We really are. AI has come along and has changed the course of the entire trajectory of where we're at. And AI is changing the way that we are thinking. AI is changing the way we're living, how we're experiencing life. And the next 30 years of our life are not going to be the same. Think about it. 25 years ago, or 25 years ago, almost to the day, right? We had Y2K, and everyone thought the internet was going to crash and the whole way of living was going to be very different. Now we've got AI coming along, and how we function is very different. I would tell you that the human race, in my opinion, is under some pretty, um, a little bit of an existential crisis from the standpoint that we have our bodies are sicker than they've ever been. Would you agree with that statement? Put number one in the chat box if you agree. Our bodies are sicker than they've ever been. It's a fact. It's a fact. Our bodies are sicker than they've ever been. Our minds are more fractured than they've ever been. Put number two in the chat box if you agree with that. We have become a world and maybe a society that's obsessed with money. Put number three in the chat box if you agree with that. And number four is we've lost meaning. We've lost our essence of meaning in life. Put number four in the chat box if you agree with that. Because the truth is we have. All four of these things are completely true. And I think that the next 20 years of our life, we are going to see more people lose their ability to be able to regulate their minds than ever before. So this conversation I'm going to have with you, Kendra and Roshan and Lucy and Elise, is because I can see you and talk to you, and Madeline, I can see you. Joe F, I can see you as well. Jen, I can see you as well. I appreciate you guys being here and being in this conversation. I talk a lot through notes. I'm going to draw, I'm going to teach. I'm a teacher, so I will teach with you guys. How many people will be okay if I actually teach you a whole shitload of information this afternoon? Anyone interested in that? Good, because I will be. I'll be teaching you a shitload of information. We'll go through a lot of stuff. I will be very honest with you. I have nothing major to really offer you in this conversation, but I do have at the end of this conversation, I will invite you into a world where those of you who want to master your life and understand how to embrace every aspect of your life, to live in a state of peace of mind, to have peace of mind every single day, to live in that space where you're congruent and master. I will offer you the opportunity to come have that conversation and join my world with that. How many people would be okay if I can teach them how to master your mind and have peace of mind every single day? Put yes in the chat box if you'd love to have peace of mind and that shut that mental monkey up. Anyone interested in that? Put yes in the chat box if that's true. Oh, I didn't see all the yeses dropping in the chat box here. Great. So we'll have a conversation at the end for those of you who want to stick around for that. And I'll invite you, and I give you an invitation to join me at a very, very nominal cost if that's of interest to you as well. Um, I will tell you that I like laying everything on the table here for you right up front so that there's no big surprises in the conversation. I'm here to serve you. I'm here to help you. At the end, I will do a Q&A as well for those who want to hang around and ask a question. Happy to do so. I can read the chat box while you're writing in the chat box as well. I have a unique ability to do multiple things, so please don't be afraid to type your things in there as well. But if you write me big long paragraphs like that, I can't read them. Ask a question simple and easy, that I can happy to address those as well. Are you guys ready to get started? Put yes in the chat box if you're ready to get started. Okay, very good. As you can tell, I have you talk through the chat box with me because I want you to communicate and verbalize. I know some of you will be like, I don't want to write. I am going to hold my ground. I'm not going to communicate. Cool, you win. The human body, if we understand frequency and focus, let's understand what frequency and focus is. Right now, more people have lost brain focus than ever before because what's happening is our brain is overstimulated and under processing. Please understand the difference. Our brain is overstimulated but under processing because we have stimulation after stimulation after stimulation that's constantly hitting every single day, every single day, every single day, every single second. We're overly stimulated. I have two books, Chasing Success and Wired for Wealth. And so, as that happens, our body is not designed to be able to handle that type of stimulation. And that stimulation that comes along is constantly putting stress on our system. Let's go to the board. If you've never seen me draw this, then you haven't been around me long enough because I will draw this almost in every program I do. The human body has the brain as it lives up here, and it sends messages down this thing called a spinal cord, and it gets feedback from this thing called a spinal cord. From the spinal cord and out, we have this area here, and you have two parts of a nervous system. This nervous system is literally filtering and feeding the entire environment around you. It's protecting you. It's keeping you safe. It's regulating how your body is processing and working. This nervous system, what we call, is called a sympathetic nervous system and a parasympathetic nervous system. Those of you who know this and understand this as basic understanding, please bear with me as I go through this and just kind of get everyone caught up. Is that okay? Right? Just to get everyone caught up on the same page. The sympathetic nervous system, this is the fight or flight. Now, what that means, it's the stress response, what most people consider to be the stress response. It's saying, I'm stressed, this is bad, therefore it creates a sympathetic response. I'll give you an example of this. If there was a saber-toothed tiger that ran into your house right now, you would panic, you'd freeze. If there was a bug in your house, some of you would panic and freeze. If you saw a cockroach, some of you would panic and freeze and jump and leave and say, my God, I gotta get out of here. Because it would scare the living bejesus out of you, right? Now, when that happens, our brain and our nervous system start to get amplified. And it starts saying, there's a threat in my life. And there's a threat in my life that's causing me to have this type of sympathetic response. And from that, we need something called a relaxed state. And that relaxed state is called the parasympathetic nervous system. This is what's known as the rest or digest part of the nervous system. This part of the body is working to rest and recover. So during the day, you have sympathetic nervous system. During the night, you have parasympathetic nervous system. Problem is that when we're constantly stimulated, constantly stressed, constantly in fear, constantly worried about money, relationships, and everything that happens in life, we live in a sympathetic system all the time. Let me give you an example. If you're getting up between 2 and 4 in the morning, or 2 at 4 in the morning, excuse me, either 1 o'clock or 4 o'clock at night, please put yes in the chat box because there's going to be 80% of you that do. Statistically speaking, I'll give you some interesting stats about sleep. 81% of the population deals with sleep every single day. Every single day. Okay? Every day. And your sleep is the most important part of your entire nervous system. It's the most important part where you recover. We in this society have this mentality of more is better. Grinding it out is better. The harder you work, the better it is. The more you grind you put on your body, the better you are. Let me ask you a question. And please understand this principle. Do you think the body likes to work harder or less hard? Put in the chat box. Less. The body is designed as an efficient unit. It wants to do the least amount of work. Understand that. It is designed to put the least amount of effort into the process. So it is always looking to sit and say, I'm not going to put more effort. I'm not going to put more effort. And it's going to find the easiest way to do that. And as the brain and the nervous system work together, it's trying to sit and say, how do I function with the least amount? Now, today, we have all the stresses of life. We don't have a saber-toothed tiger coming in the door. What we have today is we have bills, we have debt, we have a governmental crisis, we have family, we have kids, we have society to live in. This part of the brain is known as the neocortex. It's the part of the brain, if I look here, this is the amygdala, this is the hippocampus, the prefrontal cortex. The neocortex is the top part of the brain. This is a part that's the processing center of the brain. This processing center of the brain is constantly looking and adapting and making sure it's working to adapt and make sure it's adapting to its environment. Have I gone too far? Have I gone too far into the science? Are you guys still with me? Put yes in the chat box if you're still with me. I get yelled at. You can't see the picture. Well, that would help. Okay. I get yelled at because people are like, this is too much science for me. I don't know what to tell you. I'm a doctor. I'm going to teach you some science, C Spike. Okay. So here, let's keep going. In the neocortex, your brain is processing, and your brain is processing how the system is evaluating, looking around it. Now you also have, so that's also looking at this thing in here called the basal ganglia. This basal ganglia is processing the emotional centers of the body. It's coming into this area here called the hypothalamus. It processes all the emotions in your life. Everything in your life filters through there. And it says the hypothalamus gets to decide if something is going to go to the parasympathetic or sympathetic. If it goes to the sympathetic, it calls it stressful. If it goes to the parasympathetic, it calls it restful. Now, for you, my friends, if you're sleeping at night and your body wakes up at 2 a.m. or 4 a.m., or you can't fall asleep, your body doesn't know that it's nighttime now. What it's saying is that it's still daytime. And so it says, I've got to be alert. I've got to be awake. And as if I'm alert and awake, my sympathetic stays on and my parasympathetic doesn't shut off. What that does, it causes you to have symptoms like insulin resistance. You can start putting yes in the chat box when I hate yours. Insulin resistance, high blood pressure, hypertension. That's the same thing as high blood pressure. Increased heart rate, increased resting heart rate, estrogen imbalance, low testosterone, increased adipose tissue, high LDL and VLDL in your body. You will also have a low HRV if you measure HRV, high respiratory rate, increased weight and fat. Holy shit, Dr. T, all of this because I'm waking up at 4 a.m.? Yes, because your adrenals are overworking. Your adrenals are over fatigued. It's like saying, hey, look, I can handle as much as I can. But if I overdo it, our body's an amazing mechanism where it handles as much stress as it can. But the important thing to realize is that the body eventually has to stop. The body eventually has to stop. Now you're asking, what does this have to do with frequency? Everything. As I get into frequency, you can understand because your focus leads to the frequency. Right now, if someone's body is completely drained and depleted and exhausted and giving you all of these hormonal problems, oh, I didn't even put hypothyroid in there. Let's put hypothyroid in there because that's going to be in there. Who's that hypothyroid? You can all put yes on hypothyroid because I'm going to see that all day long. Right? Interestingly enough, I want you to understand this. George Lucas took 30 years to amass the Star Wars franchise to $3 billion. Ambien, which is a sleep medication, did that in 2.5 years. That's how big of a sleep problem we have in this world. Okay. And I'm going to solve it for you. I'm going to show you how to solve it. I'm not going to solve it for you. I'm going to show you how to solve it. If our sympathetic nervous system is under the state of stress and thinks it's on all the time, we can't focus. And the focus disappears under this. All you see is blur. All you see is exhaustion. And the body's like, huh. And then what we do, we get up in the morning. My friends, I got you. I know. First thing you do, you got to go downstairs and you got to go get that pot of coffee. I need my caffeine. Don't talk to me, Bellin, without my cup of coffee. Don't do it. Don't get me started without my coffee. I can't do it. Put yes in the chat box if you're that person, please. Because I guarantee you, there's about 60 to 70% of you that need coffee first thing in the morning. That coffee first thing in the morning is a stimulant that's waking your nervous system up. It's the exact opposite thing we need to do for our brain and our body. Please understand that. If your body is overstressed and the first thing you do in the morning is you put in caffeine, you've now turned the nervous system. It's the exact opposite of what your brain and body needs. Because focus, please understand this. Okay. Focus is a byproduct of recovery. I hope you write that down. Focus is a byproduct of recovery. If you are under a constant state of stress, my friends, you can't rest. You can't recover. Some of you are going through tough things in your life. Some of you are going through divorces, hardships, financial hardships. And I don't want to take it away from any of your hardships by any means. But I will tell you that when you get a peace of mind in your life and you get that peace of mind, it's more important than you can imagine. Not about performing better, because you will, but it'll also be about the brain clarity. I will tell you that there's a direct correlation to focus and the ability to focus and recover and memory in Alzheimer's. There's a direct correlation to it. Studies have been proven on this. So, this case of focus, what is focus? It's the ability to create attention on what we want in the environment around us. Okay, I'm going to redefine that again. Focus is the ability to create attention on the things that we want in our environment around us in a calm state, not in a hyper state, not in a stressed out state, not in an angry state, not in a frustrated state. Because if your focus is off, your frequency is already off. But you use your focus as your gateway to see your frequency. You use your focus as a pathway to get you to see about your frequency. Because focus is your ability to basically lock your brain in. I don't know about you guys, but I don't know if anyone's ever had a cocktail in their life and the next morning gotten up, you're like, man, I just can't, my brain doesn't turn on. Anyone ever feel that way? Put yes in the chat box if you've ever had that, right? And it feels like the older I get, the more often I get it. So that's why I drink like once a year or twice a year. I have one drink and my brain's like, oh my God, I just can't think as clearly. It just doesn't work as well because your body isn't removing all of this. So when we look at this, I want you to understand something is that your frequency, let's talk about this thing called a frequency. If this is the human body, you have a nervous system, which is sympathetic and parasympathetic here. Around you, it's emitting these waves. Bob Proctor. How many people know the name? Oh, yeah, you guys can't see it. My bad. Sorry. How many people know the name Bob Proctor and the law of vibration? Bob Proctor was a direct mentor of mine. And we used to talk about the law of vibration. The law of vibration was taught to Bob by a chiropractor, Thurman Fleet, from the 30s. And Bob and I spent many a nights talking about the law of vibration and how it works. The law of vibration, let's discuss it because this is what frequency really means. Actually, for my neuroscience geeks and my physics geeks, let me explain. Frequency is the speed at which these go up and down. These amplitudes go up and down. The faster it is, the faster the frequency. The slower it is, the slower the frequency. Okay. Now, when you look at the frequency factors, how do we get our brain? Which one do you think is better, the faster or the slower frequency? What do you think in the chat box? What do you think? Put in the chat box. What do you think? Is faster frequency better or slower frequency better? Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a quandary here. We've got slower and faster. Slower and faster. It depends. Slow, maybe faster. I don't know. Middle. Where this almost so confusing. I don't know which one's the best. Let me explain a statement to you. I'm going to come off of this, and I need you to understand. And this is the premise of my entire life's work. Coherence, congruence equals coherence. Congruence equals coherence. Incongruence equals illness. What does that mean? That means if you don't listen to the oracle and know thyself, and you're being incongruent to who you are, then you can't be coherent. And coherent in the way that I describe it, is about having organization between the mind, the body, and the soul. That's congruence. That's coherence. When your soul, your mind, and your body are aligned, congruent, then you can have coherence, and the field around you has a higher state of frequency inside of it. And the higher frequency is not a faster frequency, it's a slower frequency. Because peace of mind is a slower frequency, but it's a higher energy state. It's contrarian to what you would think. Now, I know the motivational guys out there, they'll say, you don't understand. RGT, this is amazing. Gee, I'm a high energy guy. No, you're a high energy crash waiting to happen. Because how many people have been super excited in their life and crashed? Super excited and crashed, and super excited and crashed. Put yourself in the chat box if you've ever been through those journeys. Of course you have, right? Because when you go through the ups and downs, your frequency goes up and down, up and down. But consistency, it actually ends up being a higher frequency, not faster frequency, but a higher frequency. So that means if we look at this and understand that the frequency around us is the energy around us, and that energy taps into our nervous system that allows that nervous system to take information up the brain, into the brain here, and allows us to process this. But if the information field here that we have, let me see if I can use a different color. Can't see my thing here. Oh, I can. Fancy. If this is the information field is, let's say, dirty like that. It's a dirty field. And that dirty field simply just means it's a incoherent field. How do you think the brain functions? How do you think the brain functions? Put in the chat box. Is it going to function fast or slow? Not well, right? Steve says exactly right. Right? It's not going to function well. So therefore, how do you have focus? You can't. You can't have focus. So the energy field around you can't function correctly. And so you get chaos. That's completely right. And the chaos that lives in here, let me go back to my colors. The chaos that lives in here now gets in to the body, and the body starts giving you symptoms. Oh, snap. Dr. T, what you're saying is this, is that if the energy around me is distorted, therefore my energy in my body is distorted. What if I said to you that the human body is a feedback mechanism? That everything in the body is constantly working to give you feedback about your mind and your body. It's working to, in essence, give you clarity around who you are. Now, what happens is that the nervous system is the conduit of that to try and say, hey, we are in incongruence right now. Madeline, if you say you live in constant chaos, here's what I'm going to tell you. Someone who says that I live in constant chaos, exhausting is someone's right, not well. I live in constant chaos. If someone lives in constant chaos, it's not because you're broken. It's not because you're a bad person. It's not because you're sick. It's not because you're not a great human being. It's not because you're not a loving person. Because I know when someone says that, there's a lot of judgment in yourself. How many people feel that there's a lot of judgment in yourself? Maybe some anger, maybe some shame, some resistance, some resentment, some frustrations about yourself. Okay. If that's so, put yes in the chat box. I get it. I get it. I get it. I completely get it. Okay. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to actually understand, right? It's sad. Okay. I get it. I understand it's sad. Let's take a second. Let's take a second and understand this. Why? Watch. Let's play a game. Pull out. I'm going to go. Come off of this. I hope you have a pen and paper. I'm going to run you through an exercise. You guys want to do some rewiring? You guys ready to do some rewiring? Okay, pull out a pen and piece of paper. I'll give you 10 seconds to go get a piece of paper. If you don't have one, if you're just sitting there chilling, 10 seconds. Grab a piece of paper. And something I'm going to say is going to sound so contrarian to you. Now, I say this to you that I'm not there with you. So if you're going to do this exercise, you are choosing to do this on your own will and volition. You may get annoyed with yourself. You may get angry. I can do the best I can in a 45-minute webinar. How many people are okay? I need some consent in the chat box. If you're okay with that, put yes, I'm okay. I'm doing this on my own will and volition, right? Just to be very direct and clear with everybody. I can't do everything. I'm doing the best I can here. Okay, great. So you have what I call the five primary emotions. Actually, I want to go to the five primary emotions. You have a story. The story is made up of beliefs. Now, I have a process called the belief inventory. I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to go to the identities piece of this. The story and the identity become the same. What's the story? Now, if you say, here's the hardest thing I ever went through, and this is who I am. I had a client today. She's got cancer. And she keeps telling me about her cancer. I said, okay, great. As long as you talk about that cancer, it becomes who you are. It becomes your story. So I say this to you, not out of pushback or challenge into you, but whatever you say is hard, write it down. Whatever you said is hard, that is tough, it's difficult, it's challenging. Oh my God, Dr. T, you don't know my story. You don't know how hard it is. My husband left me. He cheated on me. I have no money. I have 14 cars. I don't know what it is. Okay, what's your story? What's the story you get to hold? Everyone got it? Put yes in the chat box when you've written it. Or just say why when you wrote it down. All right, very good. So the story you're holding is the one that you've identified with. Doesn't mean it's right, doesn't mean it's wrong. Our whole body is built up of these stories that are our life, right? Okay. So what I want you to write down is what are 5 reasons or 10 reasons you're actually holding that story? What are 10 reasons right now? Do it. I'm going to give you a minute. Someone put a minute on the clock. I'll do it. What are 10 reasons you're holding the story? Is it because it gives you attention? Is it because it makes you feel like I'm important? Is it because it makes you feel right? It lets you be the victim. It lets other people say, hey, look, that poor guy. And you get to identify with that part of the ego. Is it because that way you don't have to step up and you don't have to take accountability? Is it because you don't have to take responsibility of yourself and you can let other people do it? Is it because you the other way would cause you pain? Is it because if you lost it, you wouldn't know who you are? Very good. Okay. Very good. Great job, everybody. Thank you for doing that. How many people saw some benefits to themselves of actually this story, this thing that they've been holding on to? Put yes in the chat box if you actually got to see some benefits of why you're holding the story. Not the story didn't happen. I'm not taking away, but that you get to hold the story. You get to hold that identity, right? Very good, right? So as you see that you get to hold that identity, here's the thing I want you to realize. As you hold pieces of that identity, it's also the reason you are creating and manifesting more of that into your life, just like Shantae's saying. It keeps showing up consistently. The law of attraction is also brought together by the law of repulsion. So what you're not creating in your life are the stories that you resent. And you bring the opposite of what you want into your life. So if you sit and say, I want money, But your story is, man, you don't understand. My ex-husband, he screwed me with money. My business partner, he screwed me with money. Oh, you don't understand, Dr. T. I lost so much money in an investment. Ooh, that's great. That story will prevent you from actually bringing money into your life. Right? Clinton, I get it. I get it. I feel like I've seen you before, Clinton. Name seems familiar. And so we hold on to these stories, but the law of attraction is also connected to the law of vibration, or excuse me, the law of repulsion. Whatever you want to attract, you have to remove. You have to remove what you're repelling. Oh, crap. They missed that in The Secret. Did you guys see The Secret's on Amazon Prime again? I was going to watch it just for fun, right? It's on Prime. They missed that when they teach you that because, oh, because how do you raise the vibration? You raise the vibration by not one piece of the puzzle. It's both the sympathetic and the parasympathetic working in balance. They have to work in balance. If something is higher stress and less stress, then what your body does, it goes into a sympathetic response. Oh, you can't see it. My bad. Sorry. And if you have a parasympathetic response, parasympathetic, that's up, and a low sympathetic, you have a parasympathetic response. Neither are correct. What you need is what's called allostasis. How many people so far are glad that they're here right now? How many people are glad that they're here learning this stuff? Okay. If you're not, I don't know what to tell you. You can hang up anytime. You can go at any time. This is what I do. If you love learning about this stuff, this is what I do here. Because if you understand this principle, here's the thing I want you to understand. Okay. This is what I want you to get is that as long as these two stay in balance, your frequency is high. If these go out of balance, your frequency goes low. Therefore, your focus goes low. When these get balanced, they go up. That's a lot, isn't it? Okay, I love doing this. I can't do this publicly, but someone put in the chat box, give me one thing that you've learned so far in this last 45 minutes. Put down one thing you've learned in the last 45 minutes. Good. Yeah. Good. All right, here we go. Let's keep going. Your brain, the way I look at the model and my world view of the model, it's already been 45 minutes. Does that mean that you want me to stop, Yesenia? I wasn't going to stop. I was going to keep going. How many people want me to keep going? Yesenia wants me to stop. I don't know what to tell you. Okay. Spiritual, mental, vocational, financial, social, family, and wealth. Let me explain something to you. If if you are every human being has a code, and there is a code to you, and this code is based on who you are. And there's a code to your optimized, authentic state where your vibration and your frequency are at its highest. There's a system to it. And I've spent 35 years now. Has it been 35 years? I feel old when I say that. I don't think it's been 30, maybe 30 years. 30 years is that's any better, right? 30 years of my life figuring and putting this system together. And this system is about decoding who you are. And this decoding comes down to four levels. One is the cosmic level, two is the DNA level, three is your value and what I call the brain, your values, and fourth are your beliefs. Remember, I said a little while ago, is that if you are not congruent, you are not coherent. What that means is this, is that if you're not congruent and realizing that what you are designed to do is maybe you are designed to be a business person, but you're not. Or maybe you're designed to be a family person and be a mom or a dad, but you're trying to build a business over here. You're going to have this conflict and tension within you. I'm gonna say something to you. It won't make sense if unless you come into my world further. Constriction and restriction will lead to resentment. You can write it down and you can ask me later when you come into my mastery world if that's something you're interested in. But this tension will be created. If you want to be a leader, but you're stuck trying to build a business, this tension will exist. Or in your finances, there's tension. Then your health will create tension. We have this tension all the way through. And about a decade ago, as I started to rewire people, and I started to rewire people again and again and again, over 700,000 people now, I realized that there's a code to the human system. We have beliefs, but the beliefs that you have are the same thing as the stories. My friends, pardon my language, but they're bullshit. They're just a symptom of trying to get you back to become authentic. But your ego gets to hold them to make you feel right. But when you start to understand and decode your cosmic, your DNA, and your values, you start to understand how to live. Your DNA has what I've identified as five categories. And these five categories are a protector, a chaser, a receiver, a bridge builder, and five would be a resonator. Each one of these DNAs, the guy upstairs has given you to have a specific value set, believe it or not. So if you're a protector and you're trying to do things that are opposite the protector path, what do you think is going to happen inside your body? Put in the chat box. What do you think will happen? Stress, illness, imbalance. You're right, my friends. Dysregulation, chaos. Absolutely right. That's what's going to happen. You're constantly going to create this tension around yourself because you're not being what you're designed to be, right? High blood pressure, resentment, these all will be byproducts of this. Correct. That's why I said the premise of my work is congruence equals coherence, incoherence equals illness. Illness is not just in one area of your life, it's in any area of your life, right? And each of these is going to be designed to help you live the most authentic state of who you are. When you're in that authentic state, you have the state of flow. When I work with performers and athletes, this is what I help them do. I get them into the flow, right? It helps them get into the flow. And as they get into the flow, now their body starts to work correctly. Now their body starts to work in a state of rhythm. So a lot of years, my work has been designed about rewiring the past. But now, how many people would like to wire their brains and to create a new identity of their life about where they want to go? Anyone interested in wiring where they want to go versus the shit that they had to go through? Yes, that's exactly it. So I have basically changed everything I'm doing in my world to help people understand their code. I spent the better part of the last 15 years of my work to go through and help people rewire their pasts. I'll come off this for a second. To rewire their pasts. And what I've in my process in learning this, I realized and I've learned how to basically wire my future. and how to become authentically myself where I don't have this noise in my brain. I just move towards a destination I want to go to, realizing that when I'm not authentic to who I am and I'm not in the state of coherence, that means that I'm incongruent. And how do I get to congruence? It changes the way you look at your life. It changes the way that you live your life. How many people in the chat box would sit and say, man, I would love, love, love to master my life to live in the space of congruence? Anyone interested in doing something like that? I think so, right? That's what this conversation is really about. It's to understand how do we master our lives to be able to do that. So we can sit and say, I can live in congruence. And I'm not selling a random congruence. I'm talking scientifically, right? I know that someone with low testosterone is having incongruence issue. I know someone who has estrogen problems is having estrogen, thyroid problems, nurture problems, sleep problems. All of this is because your brain and body should be congruent. And if you don't know, like for example, your deep sleep should be an hour and 18 minutes, and your rest, your hour and a half. Your REM sleep should be about an hour and a half. Last night, my friends, last night I slept. You guys can look at it. I'll show it to you. So you guys don't think I'm making shit up. This is, can you guys see that? You can't. It's an hour and 45 minutes in deep sleep, but 2 hours and 43 minutes in REM sleep. The reason REM sleep is important is because it cleans your mind. It clears your mind every night. You have these gliophages that are clearing it out. And if you sleep like that every night, okay, look there. I don't know if you guys can see it. If you sleep like that every night, what happens is your brain and body recover. But that's also a sign for me that you're sleeping and you're congruent. You're congruent with who you are. How many people would love, love, love to be able to have that type of rest recovery in their life? Anyone interested in that? Someone's got to take the dog out. You had 36 minutes of deep sleep. That's not enough, brother. That's going to cause you health issues. That's going to cause you health issues. Let me share something with you right here. So in my programs, when we look at frequency, when I rewire the brain, here's what happens. Can you guys see that? Put yes in the chat box if you can see it, my friends. How about now? You still see Spotify. What the hell? Got it. Okay, never mind. How about now? All right, here we go. So what happens in the human body, if you look at this, this is when someone gets rewired. Before they get rewired, here's their joules, here's their energy state, their frequency. What we found by doing all of this work when we start to rewire, and in one day, people's frequency goes up by 20, almost 15, 18% here, from 48 to 57. Do you think this person is healthier and has more focus at the 57 joules? Put yes or no in the chat box. Yes, 100%. 100%. That's the power of rewiring your mind, or rewiring your brain and doing the work and getting congruent with who you are. This person went from 38 to 53 in their joules. This person went from 34 to 52 in their joules. This is what happens when you rewire the brain. This is the energetic space, the vibration field around you. It goes up. 44 to 66. This is a 33% increase in an individual. What would you do with 33% more energy in your day? Think about that for a second. 33% more focus. How much more productive would you be? When you work with corporations and companies, this is what we show people this. This is literally what we're showing people with this. 40 to 57 joules, 30 to 61, literally 100% growth of the joules. This person dealt with peripheral neuropathy, back pain, neck pain, right? And shoulder pain. How do I know that it increased? We measured them. These were actual scientific measurements using Kirlian photography in our programs, right? You feel so much better about life. That's exactly what this would be. So when you look at this, this is a system for you to be able to assess where you're at. Now, When you start to get more focus, you start to get more clarity in who you are. Your brain and your body start to optimize. Well, my friends, I hope this has been a valuable conversation. I hope this has been fun. I thank you guys for your time, your attention.